Hey everyone, welcome back to R Reefer. So today I wanted to go ahead and finish or try to finish talking about some of my other corals that aren't necessarily SPS. So we'll go through. Probably ramble a little bit. It seems to be the way to do it for me to get through these videos. So let's talk about torches first. I think torches are very popular, at least right now. I guess mainly because you're going to get the color you get pretty much out the box. Like you're not going to have to color it up like an SPS frag. You get instant look. SPS take a while to grow in and look somewhat good. Another thing with torches is that they're really just nice looking. I mean, people come and look at your tank, and they don't. People that aren't reefers come and look at your tank, and we all get the same thing that these no reefers say, which is basically, is that alive? What is that? Is that a plant? Is that an enemy? I say, it's frustrating hearing that. It's annoying. It's like, yeah, of course. You see everything with color in here. It's from me. Okay, I put that in here, and I grew it, and it looks cool. It's alive. So then you get what is that? Nemo? Is that door? Anyway, so it's an instant good looking thing in your tank. I do subscribe to trying to make this look good, not only for me but for people that come and look at my tank. You're definitely trying to show it off, and the main thing should be that it looks good to you. But let's be honest. We post these on Facebook and Instagram because we're proud and we want to show it off, and we want validation that our tank looks good. I mean, it's, I guess, human nature. So torches are going to give you that pretty quickly. They're sometimes expensive, sometimes not, depending on what you get. Some of these torches, I say a lot of times I don't understand, but a Holy Grail torch. It's a green torch with some gold in it, mostly green. I get the collecting part of it, but that one, sorry, can't get me on that one. I cannot understand it. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to have one, only to be able to frag it, sell it to buy other corals that I really like. But it's what you like to. So here I have a Hellfire Torch. I've grown this guy from, I don't know, I think I bought just a single head. It may have been a splitting single head, but it's now at least 12 heads. I've fragged this thing multiple times. It's a fast grower, and so far has done well in my tank. This Echinata might need to get moved over. He's a little bit close. If you know anything about these guys, they do not play. This is just a gold Indo, and I think this is basically the same thing with a different color tip. Maybe a blue tip and a green tip, but it's an Indo gold, whatever. This is a New York Knicks right here. You see the green. The green in the mouth is what would to me classified as a New York Knicks. And you can kind of see it there. Anyway, I can promise you there's green in the mouth. Anyway, so that's a Knicks torch. Another decently fast grower. I wouldn't say it's anything mind-blowing like the Hellfire for me, but it looks really good, especially under heavy blues. I have my T5s on right now, but one of these torches just pop under blues. So I think the other euphyllia I have, the only other euphyllia I have is this, it looks gold in the camera, but it's really orange. Yeah, it's orange. But that's just a branching hammer. I've yet to frag that guy. I got it as a single, or actually, I think that was actually came in as a double, and now it's split into 5 or 6 heads. So let's go around the side so I just don't forget these. That's some sort of Favia. I always have to look up Favia names. This is another one I fragged a ton of. If you know Favias, they don't grow very fast, but they sell quick. They look like an A can. Anyway, very cool when this guy feeds. The feeding response is amazing of these. Okay, over here is my Space Invader Pectinian. This guy was damn near dead. I mean, like, I got a lot of those that I've been saying in this tank, but this coral was not near dead. Very similar to this green slimer. This was probably way worse than that. I mean, it was like, I don't know, down to one eye, and just looked like total trash. It was just bad. And I think I just moved it into lower light, and it ended up coming back, and it is doing very well now. These corals can definitely come back if you give them the chance. I speak a lot about not giving up on corals, and I think you owe it to them. For basically putting them in a death box and not giving them what they need. So don't give up on them. Unless it's brown jelly, get that the hell out your tank. But if it's just struggling, until it's gone, until there's no polyps left, no mouth left, it's got a chance. It can definitely, in the case of the definitely today, I can assure you that is a mistake. You can bring these back to life from almost nothing. All right. Let's see here. Chalices. I started with a love of chalices that I grew into pretty much not liking them. I struggle with chalices. I couldn't tell you really why. I think it was my lighting. I started the hobby, or back in the hobby, with Hydra 26 HDs, no T5s. And I think I just cranked them up too much and just smoked every chalice I had. It just started melting. These are all frags of bigger pieces that whenever I moved everything over, I ended up cutting up. So just to kind of start over a little bit. What was bad for me is I lost a lot of rainbow chalices, and that was a bummer. A lot of money down the drain. Let's see here. This back here, I actually got for free from a local who has just started his tank up. I'm going to end up giving him most of this back and just cutting a frag. But this is a Holy Grail Micro 8 can, I guess is what it would be. These are extremely valuable. So it was really cool of him to trust me with it. It's doing very well. It came in with maybe, 4 or 5 heads, and it's definitely growing. Does well in this tank. This, I asked on Facebook what it was, and I can't remember the name. It's one of those goofy scientific names that I will never try to remember, but it's a very neat coral. It is absolutely the brightest non-SPS coral in my tank. I say non, it may be SPS, I really don't know. But it is very, very, very bright. And the colors you see are the exact colors my eyes are seeing, at least by this phone. So this actually formed a little bit of green, as you can see right here in the middle, out of nowhere. So that was cool. Let's see here. Got some Ghanies. We've talked about Ghanies a little bit. I love Ghanies, but I've had a few start struggling in my tank for some reason, and I'm going to try to figure that out, but I don't know what it could be. So I've already sent off a water test. What is that emerald crab doing right there? Huh. I'll watch him. I've already sent off a water test. I actually got the email today that they received it, so we'll see what they got to say. Who knows? That's a, let's see here. It's not, it's Jay's Atomic Balls Ghani, I think so. I don't know. And then I think that's called an Iron Man on the right. Something like that. You know, these names. But they're very, very nice. These have also been fragged, so I've cut these up a few times. Ghani sell really quick, and I love to share the wealth in the local community with frags. And I generally try to be as cheap as possible. You know, not knocking any stores, but you know, I like to try to help people out and make sure that everybody gets to enjoy the hobby. You know, within reason. I'm not going to spend $500 on a frag and then, you know, sell for $50. I don't think that's fair to myself, but you know, I will never charge retail on what I paid for it. So I try not to pay retail. Anyway, moving on from that, some firework glow pops. These are just awesome. I love these guys. They supposedly spread fast. I haven't had that experience, so I'm gonna try them on the rocks. They're pretty easy to pull off, so it's not like you know, what is that other crap people put in their tank that just takes over. I also got some down here. This one's not as bright as the other one, but they do look really good. Let's see here. This is my ORA Red Ghani, and it's doing amazing, as you can see. And I think that was pretty much one of the first Ghanis that people were able to really succeed with on a regular basis. And as you can see, it's doing well, even though others are somewhat struggling. I have 3 that are struggling and 4 that are not, so I don't know. That's not very good odds. So that is that Ghani. Every Ghani in this tank has been fragged multiple times. I try to shrink everything up before I put it in this tank because it's smaller. And you run out of room pretty quick. So back here, this is an Echinata, and I cannot ever remember the name. It's like a, anyway, it's orange Echinata. There's a name for it. Not Agent Orange, I don't believe, but it's very, very, very bright. With these Echinatas, just a piece of advice: do not put them anywhere near corals, because they will destroy them, and they do not discriminate. All right, moving on. This is my clam. I think I talked about it in another video. So I actually got this from Live Aquaria. It was classified as an ultra grade. And if you know anything about clams, I believe most everyone here would say this is not an ultra grade clam. So actually I emailed them and just sent them some pictures like, listen, you know, I want an ultra grade. You know, this isn't an ultra grade. And they asked to send more pictures, so I did. Eventually they sided with me and said, hey, you know, we agree with you, and gave me a full refund. And unfortunately there's no more ultra grades on their site, so I just hadn't replaced it. This is a Maxima Clam, and they are rock boring clams, so they have to have something hard underneath their shell. Okay, they are supposed to have something hard underneath their shell to attach their foot to. There's a frag disc underneath this guy in the sand that he's attached to. I've just buried it, so there is something underneath there. You don't want to put Maxima clams, or any rock boring clam for that matter, in the sand bed without something underneath its foot to protect it. There's a lot of information on this, but essentially what it is the shape of their foot is, so the bottom of their shell, the shape of it is really does not offer as much protection to bristleworms and some predatory type animals that can prey on these clams. So you know, they need a way of you know, protecting them. That's why you will find them only on rocks in the wild. There's a lot of videos, a lot of information, a lot of articles, scientific articles I've read about clams. I really dove deep into clams and trying to learn about them. And there's a lot of misinformation about clams. I guess the main one that you'll hear about is that they had to be fed phytoplankton. Do a little bit of scientific research, not hearsay, which there is plenty of that in this hobby. And you'll find that they do not need phytoplankton. It can help, but they can 100% survive without it. So that's my clam. One more key thing. If you got questions on clams, maybe one day I'll do a video on just clams. One of the biggest keys I found to keeping clams and them just not dying after a few weeks is the acclimation process. These clams are extremely finicky when it comes to any differences in water quality change. So when you acclimate these guys, and I'm not big on acclimation on a lot of things, but with clams, you need to be doing 2 to 3 hours at least on your acclimation process. Ensure that you take it slow if there's a big difference. They just do much better. I can also tell you this, I've lost my fair share of clams starting out because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. There's a lot to learn about these guys. They are a living animal. You shouldn't just throw it in your tank all willy-nilly without, doing your due diligence and learning a little bit about these animals. All right, moving on. Another Ghani. He's looking a little bit better, but I wouldn't say it looks great. At least the polyps are somewhat sticking out, but I would not call that good. This Ghani's normally a lot bigger, so I wouldn't say he's doing as good as he normally is as well, but it doesn't look like this. So back here, a couple of Recordias. This guy fell in the sand because it's not glued down and one of the urchins knocked it over. So he's got a little bit of skin coming off, whatever. Those grow fast and bounce back. So here's my Zoa garden. I've got a mixture of different ones in here. Underneath those pink diamonds is some AOI Zoas. I've got some Aptasia Zoas, some Hephaestus, or however the hell you say that. And just a mixture. These Zoas do very well in my tank as well. This rock filled out, and it was literally just a couple of frags, a couple of polyps on each frag. And this is 3 months. This is what it looks like. And with all the help of these Aptasia stinging on each side. So I go through and I use F-Aptasia. F-Aptasia, I'll just tell you this real quick, is awesome. It turns into this white hard substance and will not just blow away like some of these others. So you can kind of coat it, turn all your flow off, coat it, and it will become a hard shell over it. And I just leave it. I generally don't mess with it after that. They'll eventually go away or get covered. But if you're fighting Aptasia, most of us are, that is one thing you can use. I don't know if I touched on my Montes or my SPS, but these guys also grow extremely well in my tank, and I love a good Monty. They just bring instant color. They're big, but you do got to kind of plan your tank around Montes because they will take over, and they will eventually shade out a lot of other corals. And I did it this way for this specific reason, whereas I know these Zoas won't need as much light, and I can handle that later. I can move these guys if I need to. Here's just a few more. A couple more coral. Oh, there's the other Ghani I have. This one, it's healthy. The tentacles are probably, 8 inches long. They're huge. So I need this guy to bounce back, and I got to get another guy in my buddy's tank to do that. But of course, I'm running fallow because of velvet, so I don't really want to risk putting a coral into his tank and then him getting velvet trying to help me. So this is another Fabia. I think it's a raptor piece Fabia. A little rainbow Yuma and some some GSP, a little colony of the Hephaestus. These guys are way overpriced retail wise. I try to sell these for like $60 for 2 heads, 3 heads. I mean, they're anyway. Go Google the price of these SBB Hephaestus. Just try to look those up. They're ridiculous. That should be a point to make. If you can help people out and get them in the hobby with some cool corals, do that. These grow like mad in my tank. Yeah, I could probably get more money for them, but it's not really all about the money. You should be trying to help other reefers out when you can, because I can promise you at one point in your reefing hobby, you're going to need that help as well. You know, if you lose a piece, you know, people are going to be more apt to help you out. Real quick, I'll touch on the star and I'll end this video. It's already long enough. I've definitely been running long videos. Try to do better with that, I guess. I don't know. So this is my blue Linkia star, I think's how you say it. This guy, as you can see, has got some nubby legs. That's because at one point I had a harlequin shrimp in here to take care of the Astorina starfish. And he did his job. He got rid of all the Astorina stars. And, you know, of course, once they do that, their food is going to be starfish. And I had planned on just rehoming him. And he got to the starfish a little faster than I guess I thought he would. And luckily I was able to save him. I've had the starfish for, I want to say 3 years. And he has since started regrowing his legs back. It was really interesting, the little nub that was cut off that the shrimp was eating, I also threw in the tank. You know, don't give up. So I threw it in the tank and it was actually surviving on its own, walking around the tank. It was very neat. But during the transfer from the tank that it was in to this tank, it was lost. So I don't know where it went. I did try to find it. But as you may know, when you move corals and you move rock, the water gets very cloudy and it's impossible to see. So this guy's a survivor. I will say, as just like the clams, they have to be acclimated. That is a key to keeping these starfish. This tank is not very old. It's new sand. The rock was, some of this was new rock. I would say at least half was new rock. Some of it, you know, came from the other tank. So it ain't like this was a super established tank where, you know, people say you got to have a tank for 3 years before you can keep, or whatever, some crazy amount of time before you can keep some of these inverts. I will write down and do a specific video on what I believe are the myths and the, I want to just call them straight lies that are told to reefers about the time that needs to be taken in the hobby before you can put something in your tank. There's so many wrong things that I believe are said in this hobby. And it goes back to me talking about absolutes. You know, this starfish, yeah, he may not do very well in a brand new tank, but that's because you can't keep stability in you generally won't be able to keep stability in a brand new tank if you're a brand new reefer. You know, there's a learning curve to this hobby that it's mind-blowing. You know, if you try to explain how everything works in a reef tank to someone, after they have woken up from boredom, because you have went into the chemistry side, the lighting side, all the stuff that we know or figure out along the way, learn along the way. You know, I guess my point is that there is no specific rules to certain things on when it is appropriate to add something. So if you feel like you're ready for an enemy, you're ready to put you a bubble tip anemone, if you can keep that tank stable, I don't care if it's day one after cycling, you have figured out exactly how to keep this thing stable with temperature, alkalinity, your lighting's good. It doesn't know the difference. I've proven that in other tanks, some smaller tanks that I've had set up. I have done everything the wrong way, according to some. and I guess I was the exception. But anyway, that's a. I want to do a video on that, and I will. People are saying what you can and can't do. Okay, I don't think I left anything out. There's some stuff on the wall. Sapphastria, there's some different Montes, but I think for the main part of this video, I've covered everything. If there's anything that y'all want me to touch on, or any topics you want to talk about, please comment, and I will talk about if I know them. If I don't, I'll just tell you I don't. All right. Well, I appreciate y'all watching my video. If you don't mind, please comment. Or let's say this. If you don't mind, please at least subscribe to my channel. If you want to hit the like button, that's great too. If you want to comment, that's even better. So I appreciate you watching. Y'all have a good day.